Hi, I'm Richard Lewis, reporting for Esports Heaven. I'm here with a man that I have long wanted to meet in the flesh.
Punch me in the face.
We'll come to that in a second. That's the surprise, Scott. It is a man that I actually admire, despite my tweets perhaps indicating differently. It is the ever beautiful, the ever young SirScoots, who's been on the panel here at DreamHack. Great to finally meet you, man. Like
you too. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fucking psyched about it. But it's a totally different experience for you right now, because here you are, in front of the fucking camera, not in the production room, not doing your usual technical shit. You've been earmarked to be like this expert analyzer. How are you finding it all?
I'm having a blast. Again, it's totally outside the box for me. You know, my on-camera experience is doing Live on 3 for a couple years, and obviously a boatload of interviews when I was one of the EG frontmen. But those are pretty easy to do every week. You know, you do shows, you kind of fall into a rhythm. You give interviews, you fall into a rhythm. You're generally asked questions you already know the answer to, or you can prep for. So this is, you know, got to kind of know your shit, you know, and Counter-Strike is my jam, you know, and yeah, it's a new version, but a lot of these same players are the ones that I was cheering for years ago. So it's been really, really cool. It's kind of put me in a quandary, because being talent, if you will, has its stress, has its definite, you got to do your homework, you got to do different things, but after so many years in the crazy, hectic production areas and all the crap that can go wrong, kind of liking sitting at the desk and people bringing me coffee and changing my batteries and guy telling me what to do in my ear instead of being the guy in the ear going, I said go to break, what are you doing? So two different stresses. For
a minute there, I thought you were going to say changing my diapers.
Not yet, not yet. So, you know, I don't see myself becoming a caster or a full-time host or anything like that. Like, I really like, and I always have, like, helping put together a show. I'm a behind-the-scenes guy at the end of the day, logistics guy, if you will. So pushing the buttons and making that magic is definitely what riles me up, but this is definitely a fantastic diversion, and to be here doing the biggest Counter-Strike tournament ever, helping launch this new game above and beyond everything else, honored when they reached out to me, because when you know, Greg Karn and Robert reached out to me, and I was like, oh sweet, I'm gonna fucking help Goffrag TV 2.0, here we go, I'm gonna help produce some Counter-Strike. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? And am I directing? You need me to bring gear? And they're like, no, we have an idea for you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you two thinking, right? And you know, they said, you know, you're not gonna be the expert, we're gonna bring a guy like Thorin, and they mentioned a couple names, you know, he'll be the historian, but we want you to bring your historical knowledge. And what I'm able to bring to the, you know, Thorin is definitely an encyclopedia. I bring a business side of esports, and specifically Counter-Strike teams, and the trials and tribulations of standing behind a team and keeping them motivated and those kind of things. So I think we've hit our rhythm, and I think we had a really good hosting desk going.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to mention it in a little bit. Like, I know a lot of people on the website are like source heads, and even the 1.6s probably don't remember this. But obviously, you were a player way back in the day on Counter-Strike.
I mean, Cal main and Cal invite, but yeah, on a global scale, I was terrible.
Yeah, well, you know,
had a little team and everything, yeah.
And you were the guy that would stand behind your team, and I brought this up on Twitter before, the no peeking bat. I think this is amazing. For those that don't know it, he used to stand behind his team with a baseball bat, and if they were to peek or do anything stupid, was it a dig in the ribs? Or?
It was generally a on the shoulder, you know. And again, back in the day, the North American teams we would play against were teams like Weekend Warriors, and these guys would like run 2 or 3 ops, and like this version of Counter-Strike Go, you have this peeker's advantage thing going, which is the exact opposite. You're like, your job as CT, you locked and you waited, because you were going to get that kill, right? Yeah. Don't peek, and so it became the do not peek bat. And what it is, it's here. I brought it with me.
Holy shit.
It's on the desk today, because I stood behind Complexity and used it. Jordan has been hit with it before. He got hit again today. It's a little like, you go to a baseball game and they give out mini things, right? It's a little mini Louisville Slugger, right? And it's always been with me, and to finally be able to use it again is kind of fun.
And the other thing I want to ask you about, just in terms of the desk, is, look, I know you're a thick-skinned guy, no doubt about it. There's been some criticism spilled over from day one. I think it's been more targeted at certain individuals. I definitely haven't seen you criticized specifically. Yeah, you dodged that flak. Just in terms of speaking for the whole analyzer desk, how have they reacted to that criticism? And do you think, speaking externally, is the criticism justified?
First, let's start with the second part of it. I absolutely think, and I've mentioned it to everyone involved, I think in their mind they always were going to bring Anders and Semler. Why they decided to announce them last instead of part of the first crew, because it just created a whole lot of negative drama that never needed to exist. There's nothing wrong with Lurpus being here, or Tosspot being here, or Thorin being here, or me being here, or BSL being here. But when you've got a crew that has literally lived and breathed this version of the game and traveled, especially Anders, I mean, like, he's CSGO to me, right? Yeah. And I've been here for years. And I won't say they got snubbed because they're here, but like it unnecessary drama, right? And I think it's worked out fine. I think Lurpus is doing his thing as an ex-pro player, sitting as a color commentator. Obviously, Corey Dunn is our American presence. Great play-by-play, great voice, all that kind of stuff. And I think Thorin is not a guy to have sitting there for 30 rounds, but he's absolutely a guy to have where he is right now, chiming in, talking about rosters, talking about maps, because he's broken down maps, he's done his homework, so he's playing the expert part fantastically. You know, my only criticism to him would be, and he knows, you know, is he's wearing like the flak he's getting, which is like you can throw it away because the flak he's getting is how he's dressed. Yeah. And at the end of the day,
that seems to me fucking insane. Like, has Counter-Strike really got to the stage now where we can moan about dress code? I mean, I don't know. Look, I get what people are saying, but this is fucking DreamHack. It's exactly what Robert said to me. It's fucking DreamHack. We aren't going to sit there and wear suits. You know, that'd be artificial.
But you've got tens of thousands of people that are watching that don't maybe necessarily feel that same kumbaya, Woodstocky vibe, whatever you want to wear, you know. And I think if we were all maybe dressed down, you know, but like they said, wear what you're comfortable with. Yeah. This is what I'm comfortable with. BSL is, you know, so we don't match, which is maybe the more jarring thing. You got two guys that are in fairly decent button downs and a guy in a throwback jersey. I knew from day one that's what he was going to wear if he was allowed to. I got no problem with it. You know, you and I have had this debate about what's professional in esports and what isn't, and we are talking about video games, right? And that's him, you know, and in a weird way, like Bruno.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, again, he dresses
the shit he wears,
but it's fancy crazy, right? You know, he's definitely playing into that, you know, whereas that's what Thorin wears at home. You know, he's been on your shows. That's what he wears. And so, to me, it's like a non-issue, but like that I was saying at breakfast to everyone, if he didn't, it's that negative atmosphere that never needed to exist. If he just wears a decent shirt, that fucking conversation just goes away, right? You announce Anders and Semler first, that all goes away, and we're all bonus on that cake, right? So, but that's nitpicky, right? Again, what he's giving us is freaking phenomenal, I think.
Right, so let's move away from DreamHack for a moment. We'll come back to it right at the end. And I know you push for time, so I won't get into it, I promise. But I've got to ask you some shit, right? Because obviously me and you, we weren't always buddies. We were, I wouldn't say foes, but you know, we had jibes at each other back and forth. And I think partly the reason why I was doing that was I always kind of perceived you to be part of this almost like axis of evil within esports, right? Like Mr. fucking EG, Mr. fucking corporate, Slick Willy, whatever you want to call it. And that isn't you. Actually, like,
no.
I don't know if there's been a change, but now I always see you on the good side of things. You're the fucking critical guy. You're almost like the whistleblower now. You're fucking the guy who says, nah, fuck this shit. And you've even pissed off some of your old buddies from back in the day by being so honest and upfront.
Yeah.
So did it change? Was there a change? Or was that just me being a jerk and not understanding what Scoots was really all about?
Let's roll it all the way back.
Right.
I think you roll me into the other Got Frag guys that got a lot of the credit when you were in the trenches doing a lot of the work, right? And you definitely have thrown me in that old boys club, right? But when I was at Got Frag, I was the same. Like I was that voice. I literally almost pulled my entire crew out of a CPL. Almost told Angel to fuck off, and like literally didn't do the grand finals of the event we streamed for Got Frag TV because it was a cluster, and like wasn't going to take his shit, so to speak, right? Now when my voice was no longer just my voice, and I was representing sponsors in a climate where you say the wrong thing, and sponsors do get letters, and they do react to it, and you do lose finances. Yeah. I became a way more PC guy, and there's a reason why I'm no longer doing that stuff, you know. I loved Live on 3 when we could all be that guy, right? And Marcus is always the middleman. He doesn't like confrontation. He's a good host, right? Yeah. But like Rod and I were the ones that were pushing buttons and jibing, and I love that. I mean, I told the fighting game community to fuck off. If you don't believe in esports, fuck off. Stay in the fucking basements, you know. But again, I started to represent a much bigger brand than myself, and the right thing to do, especially not only sponsors on the show, but you know, again, I was a COO of EG, you know, and it hurt to have to stop tweeting so much and stop posting so much, and that is one of the reasons I left it all, so I could get my voice back. I don't think I'm not a sales guy. Like the first deal I made with Alex is I'm never walking into a boardroom with you. I'm not writing PowerPoint presentations. I'm not selling. It's not what I do. I talk. Yeah. My passion comes through. Like I'm a believer in all this. But you're right. Like I had to maybe defend things that I didn't necessarily at my core believe in, because that's the business I was behind. Yeah. I had to pick fights that maybe I wouldn't have picked, you know. So it changed me a little bit, and I think, you know, you have a point there. I think this is truly me. Yeah. You know, you wake up and read my Twitter timeline now, that's Scoots. And
entertaining.
But I had to temper it for a real reason. If it was just fans being pissed off, yeah, I don't give a shit. You know, I'm here to please myself and, you know, and help grow this thing. But again, when it literally starts affecting the bottom line of those you love and people you work with, you either have to take that risk and not care, which we did for a while. But you know, and I never there were no examples of sponsors of the shows about me. But like the culture a couple years ago, you know, this guy tweets this, sponsors written, Reddit goes crazy, and I was like, okay, gotta pull back. And like, it was disingenuous. You know, we were like esports without the fluff, and it was pretty fluffy, yeah, right? So I think you and I never really interacted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and again, I think we've both come to realize that we have different accents, but we're like literally, like we could be brothers, right? Yeah, because we like, and now on Skype we're like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, go, go, go. I mean, we're very much kindred spirits.
Yeah. Well, and with that in mind, then I'll ask you: does the current state of esports make you kind of sad? I struggle with it. I think we want to straddle this. Like, what's great about DreamHack is the spontaneity, the fact that it's off color, it's off message. You never know what's going to happen on a stream. You never know if Too Good's going to fucking go hog wild and say some crazy bullshit. They brought in outspoken guys, people like you, people like Lurpus, people like Thorin, guys with balls who say what's on their mind and what they think about. We are not the norm in esports, though. The norm is this almost like watered down, super professional. I just want to
buttoning up.
Yeah. I just want to do good for my fans. So, does it make you sad that is pretty much the representation of professionalism in esports? That being honest and earnest and passionate about your opinions is almost like a negative thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you notice it in society in general. Like, we're all too politically correct sometimes, maybe. Like, everyone is too nervous, and that's definitely come down into our world, because everyone's afraid that if we don't act a certain way, the money all goes away and the dream evaporates. And I think there's a big line you can walk. I mean, we're talking about video games here. We're talking about entertainment stuff, and you know, is ESPN buttoned up? Yeah. Do we all need to be ESPN? No, MLG can be ESPN. You know, I want to be Spike TV, having a good time or whatever, you know? So, I think it's a yin and yang, right? Does it kind of bum me out that we have to, like, lose a little bit of our own, like, uniqueness? Yeah, but I think chasing the money is a good thing too, or we would be talking to, you and me would be talking to nobody. Yeah, right. So you have to adjust, but if we get too, I mean, we were all nervous about CGS, you know, because again, that was very buttoned up and very watered down, and they shit all over our games. Big time. So I'm okay with guys wearing blazers and buttoning up and being very politically correct to an extent. But if that money comes with drastically changing the games we play and how we play them, now you're messing with the sport. And like, we do see it in the real world, though, like, you know, TV timeouts and all this kind of weird shit. So how far is it going to get, you know? And again, for me personally, I like to be raw. I like to say, I've always said what's on my mind, like long before I cared about esports, you know. And did it get me in scraps in bars? Did we got guys that were way too tall for me? Yep. But you know, I sleep really well at night. You know that I don't hold back if I really feel that I need to let it out.
So we got 2 minutes, I think, before you're due back on stream. I've just had a 2-minute warning about that. So I'll try and get a nice final question. I wanted to go off for more on a cul-de-sac about that, because that's the real interesting shit. But fuck it, we could be here all day. So let's just get back to, Like you're
with the hard shit, man.
No.
You're known for it.
It's not fluff. But I definitely want to get your thoughts about this because you're an expert in the field. Not a lot of people know that, and I didn't even know that. I was ignorant about it. This guy is like a TV fucking supremo. He does all this kind of amazing broadcasting work. So let's talk about the streaming revolution and what it means for esports, right? Because for ages, everyone was dropping to their knees and sucking that TV dick, right? Like everyone wanted to be on TV. Streaming is now being emulated by TV channels. They're looking at what we're doing and going, holy fucking shit, they're onto something. So what do you think that means for the future of esports, and do you think that means that esports will grow a backbone and stand up to, like you said, the watering down of our games, or do you think that the allure of TV is always going to prove too much?
Yeah, good question.
Answer that in a minute.
Yeah, I definitely think that you know, you see it with traditional media, like TV is dying. You know, people get their news on the internet, they get it on their mobile devices on the go, and we're always the forefront of that kind of technology in the world we're in. And it's refreshing to know that you can do a dream hack and you can be yourself, and Bruno can be himself, and James can, you know, all these different entities, and get away with it, meaning that your sponsors not only support it, but it grows, and you build off of that. You don't have to water down. There are going to be those that want to take that money and that money and that money, and that's going to require them to act differently. Yeah. But as long as we all don't have to do that, and because some sports are a little crazier, action sports get a little looser on their broadcasts, and obviously NFL football is very buttoned up. So I think there's room for all of us. And again, TV is a dream we absolutely don't need to chase. TV style production and quality of production value and big trucks and all the good cameras and the good, that's what we want. But do we need to be on ESPN or on NBC? Nope, I don't think so. Because they're all coming to us.
Okay, so just in a word, just to wrap this up, you got to go back, you got to go cast. Who's going to win this fucking thing?
Man, well, the way that it works out now is it looks like if Astana comes through on their side, we could end up with Astana on one side and either NIP or Varigames on the other. I mean, Complexity's got a really tough match ahead of him with Astana. Man, I want to say NIP, but they've got so much pressure on them, like with the TV crews and all that. But Varigames has dropped some maps. I'm gonna go with NIP.
All right, I think that's safe money. I think they've been playing it loose and fast for the TV thing. So when they win, yeah, exactly, it hypes it, right? But that's my take.
Cinderella story.
Look, man, I fucking love you. I'm going to look deep in your eyes and tell you I love you. I wish there were more people like you in esports, really, 100%, genuinely.
You know, my friend, you too.
You're one of the good guys.
Hey,
oh, fuck. Sorry, shit. That's another gif.
It's already on the internet, Jesus, yeah.
That's the revenge for that, right? So,
fair enough.
Right. Anyway, that was the fucking mighty SirScoots. He's going to be going back and casting on the mainstream. Make sure you watch him and support him. Stop being whiny little bitches about the stream. They're great guys. They're doing a good job in immense pressure. Stay tuned to our coverage on Esports Heaven. We're going to have more video interviews like this one from here at DreamHack Winter 2013. Peace.